And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Codenames Marvel. Now, I've already reviewed Codenames, Codenames Pictures, Codenames Duet, and Codenames Disney, and this is the second themed one, Codenames Marvel. Now, I'm really excited about this because I love Marvel. This is not based on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's based on the Marvel comic books, which I really enjoy. And Codenames itself is a great game, so this is a pretty good match. You say, what are you talking about? I never heard of Codenames before. Great, let me show you how it's played. At the beginning of the game, you're going to put out a grid of 25 cards. Now, I put out the picture side. You can also just use the word sides. This would be boots and rings, and this is Captain America. So you can play with words or pictures, and there is a lot of different pictures of different character cards in the game from the Marvel Universe. So you can see there we have the Sinister Six, and here we have Shrink, which is Ant-Man, and here we have Shoot. It's also Black Widow, and here we have looks like Destruction, Rubble, and Ultron, and let's see how many of these I can guess. That's the Red Hood, or just the Hood. The Punisher, Venom, the Hand, Morbius, Elektra, Lockjaw, Peter Quinn, or Star-Lord. I'm sorry, he would actually be pretty annoyed at me about that. The Inhumans, and so on and so forth. And so you're going to put out a grid of these, and then you're going to split people into two teams. So one team is going to be S.H.I.E.L.D., the other team is going to be Hydra. There's going to be a director for each of these teams. Those are the people giving out the clues. The two directors are going to look at a card. These cards are randomly drawn from a deck of many cards of these types, and this card can be oriented whatever way, but once it's set, it's set. This color on the outside tells you who the start player is, and that means you're going to have to find one more clue than the other team. So there's a double-sided tile here. In this case, it would be blue. Blue would have to find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 clues, as opposed to Hydra only having to find 8. On your turn, you're going to give a clue. You are trying to get your team to guess your cards here. So the blue player is trying to get people to guess Nick Fury, Howard the Duck. This card is just called Rescue. Craven. This is like a Explode. We got Cloak here, the Pumpkin, Jack-o'-lantern, Captain America, and this here is Imprison or Trap. So I need to get people to guess those clues, and I can only give a one-word clue. So I might look at these clues here, and I definitely have Captain America and Nick Fury. So I might say the clue, Star 2. That's a pretty easy clue, right? Because I look around here, and my team is going to look at these clues, and they're going to touch a card that they think, like, well, there's a star here, so they point here. I say correct. So we cover this up with one of the blue ones. Then they point to Nick Fury. He also has a star. Good. Your team is allowed to guess up to one more time than the number that you give. Now, they can guess less. So let's say that's the Hydra person's turn, and Hydra is trying to get people to guess Thor and Sword. So they might say Weapon 2. So the other team points to Kraken here. Whoops, that's wrong, Hydra team. That's what happens when you work for the Course of Evil, and that gets covered up with a blue one, and their turn's over, even though their director said 2. If you pick someone, let's say someone picks Mysterio, who's on either side, you cover it up with one of these neutral infinity gems, and nothing happens. However, if you cover up this one here, it's marked on here, that's the Assassin card. If anyone ever picks that card, then your team instantly loses. So you got to be really careful about never giving a clue that lets someone pick that. Players can use clues from previous turns to think. So if I said Star 2 and you picked the wrong one, you can remember that later on. Like, oh, maybe he's talking about Star Labs. Wait, Star Labs is from DC, so that doesn't make sense. But you can use clues from previous ones to guess. And there's even advanced variants where you can say something and a number 0. But you're going to go back and forth. Now, you could be very blatant. I could say Carnage, and then you're like, oh, well, that's definitely that one. Or Pumpkin, and you could pick that one. But you will lose if you only get your team to guess one thing at a time. You want to get more numbers than that. That's pretty much the game. There's another variant where you can play that if you put out all the neutral ones, the last one's the Infinity Gauntlet, which makes Thanos win the game, and then that team loses. And like I said, there's lots of these cards that can be put into the game and played. and you can flip over and play with words. But that's basically how you play Codenames Marvel. As I said, there is a lot of cards in this game, all kinds of characters from the Marvel Universe, but just as a heads up, there is no X-Men or Fantastic Four in this set. This is the Avengers, the Inhumans, Spider-Man, and his cronies and the different people involved. Now that's still a lot, but realize that you're not going to see those people. The card quality is pretty good, and the words on the air side are pretty easy to read when they're on the table. The other tokens, the shield tokens, the infinity gems, they're nice and thick. The other cards work well in a plastic stand. This is a very easy thing. Even if you can't tell between red and blue, there's diamonds and circles here to tell that apart. So the quality here is quite good. And there you go. Now, Codenames is a fantastic game. I really like this one. Now, you'll notice if you watch my Codenames Disney review, this one doesn't have a basic mode. This only has the full-blown mode. The Disney one had an easier mode with a 4x4 grid. So I wouldn't have minded had they put that in here too. But here's the thing. I like this game, but I'm not going to rate it as high as other Codenames. Even if I have my druthers, this would be the one I play. You say that's kind of contradictory. Well, not necessarily. Here's the deal. I love Marvel. I know a lot. I know probably most of the cards in here. Some of them, I know the comic book that card came from. You know, I really like Marvel, and I know all this. There's not a whole lot of people like me in that regard who also want to play Codenames. So a lot of clues that I would give, I might be like, Maximum. And that means Maximum Carnage, and you know what happened there, Maximum Carnage, and who died in that one, and this person was in that one, and you know. But if someone doesn't know anything about Marvel, it doesn't work. Now, some things will work, green colors and things like that, and you definitely better play with the picture side. If you're going to play with people who don't know as much about the Marvel Universe, with the word side, it's much trickier. And I like that. It's cool. And I also really miss the fact that the X-Men and the Fantastic Four aren't in there. That's literally half the Marvel Universe. And it's kind of a bummer that those folks aren't in this game. But that being said, there is a lot of cool stuff in here. But still, it feels like the game is more restrictive because of that. I can't really play this much with my wife and with other people who don't like the Marvel Universe as much. But if you do have a couple Marvel comic fans and you like party games, Codenames is an amazing game. I like this. I'm probably going to hang on to it for when I do run into those Marvel fans and be like, do I have the party game for you? It's the perfect match. It just doesn't fit in every situation. Still, though, this is not just a quick port. I'm always concerned about that, right? Like, hey, here's a game, and they're just going to slap another theme on it, you know, like they do with Monopoly, Smurfs Monopoly, Marvel Monopoly. This is Marvel Codenames. It is slapped onto it to some degree, but they did a good job. They picked a good number of pictures. The quality is high as the original game itself. So I really appreciate that. That's Codenames Marvel. Excelsior. Dice Tower Judgment approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!